Hello and welcome to a new watercolour video. Today I'm painting this cute little cottage step by step. You can download the outline for this on my Patreon, and I'll list everything that I'm using underneath in the video description. Queen Rose and Queen Gold. So I wanted to be more pink, but that was just like too pink, so I've warmed it up a little bit by adding the Queen Gold. And then I'm going to get some of that because I want it to be super light pink. So I'm going to make that really watery. So I'm just going to wet all the paper first of all and then drop the colour in. I'm leaving some little space for the foliage at the side of the house. So I'm not going to paint over them bits, I'm going to leave them bits white. So I'm going back in and adding a little bit more water because a lot of that's soaked in now. And then I'm going to grab the colour and drop it in. Just want it to be very, very light. So I'm lifting some of that back out because it's just a little bit darker than I wanted it. I want it to be like super pale pink. I've also painted the chimney pink at the front. And now I'm going to mix up some Jane's Grey. I've still got that Jane's Grey on my brush, and I've just added some water, so it's just going to be really super light, wet the whole roof. And then I'm getting the darker mixture and dropping that in, make it a little bit darker. Then I'm going to get some mixture straight from the pan so it's super strong, and just kind of add more to this side. So just trying to not make the roof all one colour, just giving it like a bit of variety. Okay, now I've got a really small 0 detail brush, number 0, and I'm going to paint in the windows. So you might have drawn the windows in when you did the tracing, but I haven't, so I'm just going to paint them in. So we want 3 across, 4 down. And they definitely don't have to be perfect, because this is just quirky, whimsical, which is a good job because I can't paint them perfect. Okay, so that's the base layer of the house done. I think it's looking quite cute already. Then with some really watery Jane's Grey, I'm going to paint whole of this area of the doorway. And the step as well. And then I'm going to, down this side, because this is going to be the lightest side, I'm going to lift that out. Some really strong Payne's Grey. I'm going to paint in this line under the roof so it looks kind of black. Next I'm going to move on to the roof tiles. So that's almost dry now. So again, really strong Jane's Grey, and I'm just going to draw some roof tiles in. So I'm going to go right along the top, just using a tiny detail brush. Just kind of leave hints of roof tiles. So it's kind of drawing them in, but just leaving loads of gaps. So once I've got all the lines across, now I'm going to do some little down lines. Brush, this is a mini rigger from Rosemary & Co. That's what it's called, mini rigger. I'm going to paint in this little roof area over the door. Mixing up some Undersea Green And I'm going to do the 2 trees either side of the house. So I'm going to add some water first of all across the top, because we want it to be super pale across the top area. Then get a tiny bit of Undersea Green and drop that in the top. Then make it a little bit stronger, kind of in a C shape like this. So we want the shadow to be kind of here. And then much stronger around the bottom area. Just got it straight from the pan and it's super strong, and add the shadowy area kind of at the bottom and kind of to this side. And I think I'll add another little kind of smaller one here. And I'm going to add one here as well, but this is going to be very faint. I should have actually put this in first. So I'm just going to add some water. Try not to touch this one. And drop in a little bit of green at the top. And then just let that kind of fade to nothing. So it looks like there's a hint of a tree further back. Right, I'm going to start on the foliage around the house. I'm going to make up some Quinacridone Gold, or just a nice orangey goldy yellow, like Indian yellow or something if you don't have Queen Gold. Some Serpentine Genuine, or just a nice warm green. And then some more of the Undersea Green. Got a tiny liner brush which is a 10/1, and it's super thin, so I want this to make the branches. So I'm going to alternate the colours. So I'll start with some Undersea Green, and I'm just going to do some branch shapes, make them kind of twisted a little bit. A little bit of Queen Gold, just kind of alternate the colour. Just kind of doing this, getting the branches in first as a guide where to put the leaves, and then making them kind of all wobbly. And now I'm just going to add lots of leaves and foliage using those 3 colours. So the yellowy Queen Gold, the dark green, the Undersea Green, and some Serpentine. I'm just going to make some leaf shapes just to decorate the outside of the house. I mean, obviously these are unrealistic because you wouldn't have leaves this big, but like in comparison to the house. But it's just really to decorate the picture. And they're just, you know, hints of leaf shapes. You don't have to be like expert at painting leaves. And I wanted them to kind of overlap the house, which is why I've left these little gaps. going to add some little flecks of foliage over these to make it look as though there's a few little sprigs of things in front of these trays. Okay, so this I do not like, it's just not working. I'm going to cover it with white gouache. When that's dry, I'll add a little bit more foliage over the top to make it different from this side. Okay, I think that looks so much better. I'm going to add Quin Gold onto the little chimney stack, the top. So dark at one side and then some lot paler to the left. Some very pale pink on this side of the chimney. I'm going to fill in that little white bit on the roof. I'm going to define the edges of the house more and just kind of blend that out because it's a little bit too dark. Okay, so that's what it looks like so far. I think it's looking quite cute. Now I'm going to add some shadows. So for the shadows on the pink area, I'm going to use this mixture from before that we used for the house. I'm going to get some of that Jane's Grey and mix some of that in to make that like a super dark pink. And then I'm going to paint a strip underneath here so it looks like a strong strip of shadow. I'm going to paint a tiny little bit just down the edge of here, and that's too strong, so I'm going to lift most of that back out. I just wanted to just kind of define that little edge. Then across the top of the windows here and here, just go over the white bit. And then on this area just underneath the white bit, do that for all the windows. So the shadows for the door, I've got some fairly light Jane's Grey and I'm going to add a strong shadow going down like this in a diagonal. Then across the top of here, around this round bit, there would be a shadow here where the door kind of indents. And then kind of down to the side here. I'm going to take that shadow right down to the bottom on this side. Kind of maybe blend that a little bit with a little bit of water. Dribble a little bit more shadow in just on the door. Just kind of blend it in. A little bit darker here. Now dry that off. Now with the detail brush and the grey, I'm going to add some details to the door. So we want a line around here just to define the edge of this. Dark line there just to bring that edge out. And then we're going to draw in the panels. So kind of And then just across a little bit. Just make this one sit up barely there at all, but we want the darker shadow to be on this side. This is the step, so we want some darkness under here. We'll leave this strip lighter here to make it look like the edge of a step, and then darker underneath. Then just add some dark green either side. I'm just going to get a little bit of white gouache on the brush and brighten up this side, make it look whiter. Maybe just a little bit across here. Just some little lighter bits just to make it look like the sun's maybe kind of shining on those little bits. Just a little bit of dry brush. Just gonna add a tiny little pink edge down here just to try and define that edge a little bit. Maybe a little bit of shadow kind of underneath here and then underneath here. So that's creating a shadow. Some of these window frames would be in shadow, so I'm just going to add a little bit of light Jane's grey. I'm going to leave all the ones this side kind of a lot lighter, and then just add a little bit of shadow in here just to make it a little bit more variety in the colour. Because when it's all just stark white, it looks a bit weird. A little bit of Jane's grey up at the top, just try and make it look a little bit darker like that. There's an indentation there. Okay, so that's what it looks like so far. Now I'm going to add some ground. So I'm going to use the Serpentine Genuine, and I'm going to add a little bit of a grassy area. I'm going to leave a gap for a little stepping stone, so I'll just kind of do that. In fact, I'll maybe do another one there, and then join this onto the bottom of here. Get some water on the brush, scrub that out so it blends nicely. I'm going to dry that off, and I'm just going to add some little grass blades just here and there. Just a little bit of grass texture. A little bit of darkness underneath this tree. Just kind of to join that up with the grass. There would be some shadows underneath. Put a little bit of darkness underneath here. I'm going to get some more of the Undersea Green, fairly strong. I'm going to make this even darker. Just going to drop that in. Wash the brush out and then just kind of blend it upwards with a clean brush. I'm going to see what that looks like when it's dry. Might add some more. Yeah, I'm going to add a little bit of Serpentine onto the top area of this to make it a little bit more green. It's a bit washed out. And then just join that onto the dark area. Let's see what, oh, we need to paint the steps in, the little stepping stones, so just some really light Jane's grey. Just take a look at it. I think I'm gonna, I don't like that, how this is super straight, this line here. I'm gonna try and rough it up a little bit and make it a little bit deeper. Don't know if it's gonna work. No, it's kind of stuck. I'm going to get some more Jane's grey and then make just a darker shadow there. And then I'm going to get some white gouache and add more. I'm going to have to blob it on really thick because I want this little area here to be lighter. So it's still looking a bit grey. So I just want it to kind of look like the light is catching on the door. And then down this side here, where I've gone over with the pink, I'm just going to put these little white bits back in. A few just little tiny little white bits across the edge of the roof, like the light will be catching the edge there. Little bit on there just to decorate it a little bit. Okay, I think we're done. I really quite like this one. I think it's really cute. Oh, just one more thing, just a little bit of shadowing on the edge of these stepping stones. A bit of grey on there. The step needs to be a bit darker, that area. I think I'm going to leave it there. Thanks very much for watching, and I will have another video up on Sunday.